Welcome to week 29. Today we're going to get warmed up with our usual two-handed rhythm warm-up, although today that will include 16th note combinations and 8th note syncopation. We'll continue our minor 7th drill with our final three chords, E flat minor 7, B flat minor 7, and F minor 7, including their accompanying Dorian modes. And then for our reading, we're going to check out a little bit of Impressionism and dive deep into the sound of minor 7th and make a piece with nothing but the sound of minor 7th, and we'll look at a few things that go well with that sound, okay? But without further ado, let's go on over to the drum and get warmed up. Now that we're finished with our introduction to 16th notes and we've looked at all 16 combinations, we're now going to incorporate those combinations into our two-handed rhythm warm-ups with 8th note syncopation. Now you'll notice that this week we only have 2 lines, and that's because we're going to do each line 2 times completely. So the entire drill, right hand, left hand, hands together, we're going to do that twice. The first time we're still going to just count and play without the metronome, and then the second time we will add the metronome, okay? Now when you're counting and playing, remember you don't have to go in rhythm, right? If you do get in rhythm and you're grooving and you make it through, that's totally fine, but if you need to pause on a beat and remember which 16th note combination is that, that's totally fine, okay? So let's get started saying and playing line 1 with our right hand on top, left hand on bottom, without the metronome first. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4 E, and 1 E, 2, and 3, a 4. 1 and 2, and a 3 E, and 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2, 3, and let's switch our hands. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4 E, and 1 E, 2, and 3, a 4. 1 and 2, and a 3 E, and 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2, 3, and top line hands together. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4 E, and 1 E, 2, and 3, a 4. 1 and 2, and a 3 E, and 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. Okay, we're going to do that line again, but this time with the metronome. It's going to be at 45, and the clicks will represent the downbeats. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and a 4 E, and 1 E, 2, and 3, a 4. 1 and 2, and a 3 E, and 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2, 3, and switch your hands. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4 E, and 1 E, 2, and 3, a 4. 1 and 2, and a 3 E, and 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2, 3, and top line hands together. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4 E, and 1 E, 2, and 3, a 4. 1 and 2, and a 3 E, and 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to line 2, and we're going to say and play the whole thing before we do it with the metronome. Here we go. Let's give it a try. 1 E, a 2 E, a 3 E, a 4, and 1 and 2, and 3, and 4 E, and 1 and a 2, 3, and a 4 E, and 1, 2 E, a 3, and 4. Switch hands. 1 E, a 2 E, a 3 E, a 4, and 1 and 2, and 3, and 4 E, and 1 and a 2, 3, and a 4 E, and 1, 2 E, 3, and 4, and a hands on it together, top line, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4 E, and 1, and a 2, 3, and a 4 E, and 1, 2 E, 3, and 4, and a. Excellent. Okay. Remember to take your time with that. If you need to pause on a beat, it's not a problem. Now we'll be adding the metronome. We're going to speed it up to 50, and we're going to imagine that these clicks are the upbeats. All right, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. If you had any trouble with that, remember that on your own time, you can slow the metronome down as slowly as you need it, or not use it at all and just read the rhythms and play them without the metronome. It's totally fine to do that at first until you are comfortable enough to put the metronome with it or to speed the metronome up. All right, but let's go ahead and head back to the piano. For today's minor 7th chords, we will be looking at E flat minor 7, B flat minor 7, and F minor 7. Let's take a look at these on the keyboard. Let's get things started with E flat minor 7. We'll do our right hand inversions, and it will look like this. Let's try our left hand inversions. And finally, we'll put our hands together on one single chord. All right, let's think about E flat Dorian. E flat is the ray of D flat. So we will play the D flat major scale, except we will now do those same notes, but from E flat to E flat. And let's change hands. All right, let's check out B flat minor 7, starting with our right hand inversions. Left hand inversions. And hands together, one single chord. Now let's think about B flat Dorian. B flat is the ray of A flat. So our A flat major scale looks like this, except now we'll be playing from B flat to B flat with the chord in our left hand. and change it up. All right, and then our final minor seventh chord will be F minor 7, and we'll begin with our right-handed versions. Let's do our left-handed versions. And now we'll do one chord, but with both of our hands. Now let's talk about F Dorian. F is the ray of E flat. So we'll play the E flat major scale, except we'll play it from F to F. And we'll put the chord in our left hand. Let's switch our hands. This week's composition is called Clouds of Minor 7, and I classified it under the category of Impressionism. So just like the last time we looked at Impressionism and thought of Clouds of Major 7, in Clouds of Minor 7 we're not really going to think about functionality in terms of 5, 4, 1 and all of that, and we're more just going to be diving into just the sound of minor 7 on every chord, okay? Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to be completely abandoning the relationships of harmony, because the three chords that we are using are adjacent to each other on the circle. So let's go ahead and review the chords that we're going to be using. So we're going to start out with our C minor 7, okay? And then we're going to move to F minor 7. All right, so as you can see, that is, if we were in the key of C, the F minor 7 would be the 4. But as you can see, it's all messed up now because we are only sticking with one sound, one color, okay? And so you guessed it, we also have G minor 7 over here. That's it. Now, you'll see that what we did on these chords is actually something called a polychord, because what you have is technically your C minor down here, and then we actually see another chord up here, which is a B flat. So another way that you could classify these chords would be B flat over C minor, okay? Now, it's gonna be the same for each of these. That top chord, the B flat chord, is the flat 7 of C minor 7. And this is a sound that really does work. If you put a major chord built off of the flat 7 of the root, which is C, right? Then not only does the B flat give you that flat 7, but the F and the D give you some extensions, some extended colors past the octave, right? If the octave is 8, then the next would be the 9, and that would be your D, right? And then if you kept going from D, E to F, you would get the 11. So when you put a B flat over a C minor chord, what you're really getting is an extra 9 and an 11 sound, and it kind of just, you know, makes it even more intriguing. So let's think about how we would say that in the key of F, right? So in the key of F, the flat 7 is E flat, okay? So you would have an E flat major chord, and then you would put that over a regular F minor triad, all right? Now if we kept going, technically for G minor 7, it would be F over G minor, because the F is the flat 7. However, I did not do that because as a composer, just because you come up with a theory doesn't mean you have to stick with it and only do that. And I found that whenever I was composing this, putting the F over the G minor sound didn't quite give me the progression that I was looking for. And so what I ended up doing, I kind of, you know, wanted to be bringing this back and wrapping up the phrase at this point. And so what sounded better to my ear and a little bit more resolute was a B flat over a G minor, right? And you'll notice that this works. The B flat has the minor third of the G, it has the flat 7, and it also has the 5. It's not as colorful as an F over G, but in this case, it's what my ear and my heart told me to do, all right? And then that, of course, is gonna bring us back to our C minor 7, or if you wanna think about it as the B flat over C minor, you know, you can do that as well. Okay. So those are the only chords that we're going to see throughout this whole piece, all right? We can do a quick color coding to kind of see that, right? So when we get back over here, we're going to do the same progression, but we're going to extend it. So there we have our C minors, here we have our F minors, and then finally we have our G minor. So if at the beginning of the piece you thought that those pretty sounds went by too fast and you want to hear them a little bit longer, don't worry, because they do come back and they're extended at the end. And now that we've talked about all the chords, that just leaves some of these scales that I see. And this is actually one of my favorite techniques for minor sevenths, okay? So the minor pentatonic is your friend in the minor seventh sound, okay? So for this scale that we see running up here, we see that we're on the C minor 7, right? So in this case, we're going to be using the C minor pentatonic, all right? Let's see if that'll fit. Yeah, why not? So we have our C minor pentatonic, although it is starting on an E flat. Don't let that psych you out too much, all right? It's just going to run right up the piano. Pentatonic scales are so cool. Minor pentatonic scales are so cool. You can get up and down the keyboard very quickly, and as you'll see, that happens here. We rise up about 3 octaves, okay? So don't forget this 8 VA right here, and we really slow down, and we're gonna take a pause on that top C, all right? And then when we get to our F minor, guess what pentatonic scale we're going to use? The F minor pentatonic. Very simple, right? And then that's going to go up a few octaves, just a couple in this case, and stop on an F, okay? So this is one of those cases where we have tons of ledger lines, but if you know what you're doing, you don't need to read them, all right? Because that's the whole point, is that we don't want to be hunting and picking all these black dots. We want to be like, oh, all of those are just a run up the F minor pentatonic scale, starting and ending on F, okay? And then we have our G minor 7, and of course, we're gonna run up the G minor pentatonic. Okay, and so that will bring us back. At the very end, we're gonna do our C minor pentatonic scale run again. Of course, it's starting on E flat, and that's just because to get it to line up rhythmically in the way that I wanted it, I ended up having to start it here so that it would end on the note that I wanted, which is a very high C. Okay, let's put our hands on this piece. Now, one of the things that you may notice when you put these polychords, right? So in our left hand, we're starting with a C minor, and in our right hand, we're starting with a B flat. Well, look at this. Our thumbs are really close together. And one thing that I notice is that sometimes people can get uncomfortable with their thumbs touching, but look, nothing's happening. It's all good. Your thumbs are allowed to touch. They can even hold each other like that, really cute, you know? So when they're right next to each other on the piano, it's not a big deal. Don't let that psych you out. They're just both resting here. And it gives kind of a cool texture when you arpeggiate that, because you're first going to arpeggiate the C minor chord like that, and then you're going to arpeggiate the B triad like that, okay? And it's going to be the same for each one of these sounds. There's your F minor pentatonic, or I'm sorry, your F minor polychord, or that would be your F minor with the E flat on top. And then finally we have our G minor with the B flat on top, okay? I did add some finger suggestions for running up those pentatonics, and as always, they are just suggestions. If there's another way that fits your hand better, or a fingering that you prefer, by all means, please use that, but just know that we are playing these designated pentatonics. All right? So let's go ahead and listen to what this song sounds like. If you enjoyed today's lesson and would like to support the Piano Dojo, you can find today's music and show notes on my website at pianodojo.com, or you can just simply subscribe and share this channel with anybody else who is looking for answers on the journey to learning piano. Until next time, happy practicing.